Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is William Michael Forbes, and I want to welcome you to Supernatural Saturday. I'm a spiritual medium, a channel, and an intuitive life coach. And today we're going to be going through a process of feeling your pineal gland. And I have this being called Thoth with me, spelled Thoth. And he came in and said, it's very important you understand the simplicity of activating or utilizing this gland. I call it an antenna, but he's calling it a gland. But it is, in fact, an antenna of sorts. It's a cosmic antenna. And we're going to get into that. I want to welcome everybody today. This is the first time I've gone live on both YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So I want to welcome everybody who's coming in from our group page, Soul Evolution. So welcome here today. We're all about bringing the truth now. There's a time we're reaching as a species that it is really literally time to awaken ourselves from being subjective to matter and the rules of matter and mind, and become the awareness that we are that's able to govern mind and therefore matter. And there's tools we have to do that. As a spiritual medium and channel, I've become very sensitive the last few days to intense energies coming on this planet, and like beings, literally tens of thousands of beings waking up every hour on the hour, waking up all around the planet to this understanding that there is something more to life than what we are currently perceiving with our five physical senses. And although many people are entrapped in the senses right now because of the fight or flight response, because of the events that have been unfolding around COVID, it's important you understand that there's this other element coming into play that's also stimulating a fight or flight response. And it's the element of your soul or your awareness. And in order to be able to utilize that awareness, it's important to be able to detach yourself from your attachment to who you think you are or who you think you're supposed to be. And there's a wonderful exercise we'll be doing. It's a short meditation on how to actually begin to trigger the gland called the pineal gland, how to begin to get a sense of how it works inside you when you interact with it consciously and deliberately, so that you can begin to generate electrical energy, chemical energy that's outside of your normal ranges of perception. Most of the time, we're going around day to day and we're perceiving things through sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. And we're moving past that now as a species, as both individuals and as a collective. We're moving past being subjective to the five physical senses and moving into the position of creation, where we are able to elect transformation and change through consciousness, through energy, over matter and mind. And there's a couple of things that we need to look at about that. One of the things is that your thoughts are not who you are. There is a simple aspect of awareness that is you. The awareness that is you, the one that can be aware of the thoughts as they go on through your mind, the you that can be aware of the sensations that your body picks up. And that awareness, that you, that I, that you are, as you begin to get more connected to it deliberately and intentionally, you're going to find some wonderful things open up for you, because then you move from being subjective to everything you've been taught by this world into being proactively creative based on an understanding of an all-encompassing intelligence that's founded predominantly in a vibrational frequency of love and wholeness. Love and wholeness. Now, this being Thoth, when he came to me today, he's literally been showing me images of the great pyramids as they were, as the great temples and stuff that they put up there to train people to be fully conscious and awake within the flesh. And he's stressing this. They train people to be fully awake and aware in the flesh, not to be the flesh, to be aware that they are in the flesh. He says it's important to make a distinction between being the body and the flesh versus being the awareness that governs it. In your educational system, as we observe today, you have nothing that compares to this process of training those in your school systems to become aware of their creative source or of their ability to direct that source at will. There are certain fundamental things that we taught all of our people in order to facilitate the growth and change that we went through from one dimension to another. For there was great change on the physical earth during our time. What do you mean by your time? They're saying between 10 and 7,000 years ago was their time. Who's there? Because there's Egyptian before that. No, he's saying between 10 and 7,000 years, there was great change, and we had to prepare ourselves for that so that when the form ended, we did not cease to be able to exist. Those of you that remain adorned in the body as if it is your only robe of consciousness will find yourselves stuck unconscious in matter when it ceases to function. Whereas we trained all of our people how to be awake and conscious of themselves outside of the framework of body, mind, and matter. The awareness that you need to cultivate is essential to be able to move your awareness out of this, not to be separate from it, but to be able to assert creatively over it, to assert yourself creatively over it. In order to do that, you must know all of the apparatus. You all understand the senses that you have of sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. But there is a greater sight that is available to all. When you are aware that it is there, you will go gladly towards it. If you knew that you could know more and be more and do more than you ever conceived of in that individual body, you would certainly want to experience that. And today we have come forth, many of us, to work with all of those of you that are present in a simple process of beginning to stimulate or make your consciousness aware again that it is aware, to make your consciousness aware that it is aware. For many of you find yourself thinking that the only world that you can be present and experiencing in is this physical one, and this is clearly not true if you understand the simple principles of what you call cause and effect. In order for the world of your senses to exist, it is an effect of a causative principle of awareness that organizes matter into the experience that you call flesh or hard matter or physical substance. This point of awareness, when you begin to open it up and cultivate it, affords you the opportunity to be free. And when I say free, I am very mindful of the meaning of that word, for free means that you're not encumbered by any finite perception of awareness that is limited to the physical world. For in your physical world, you have these things that you call time and space and the transformation and changes. They do also exist on other levels, but the expansion of time is much greater relative to the different dimensional frequencies that are available in your awarenessness. The ability to release yourself from attachment to the body, to release yourself from attachment to your thoughts, and especially your thoughts, your ability to release your attachment to the energies that those thoughts generate that you call emotions while you're in that body. We simply call energy. But your capacity to be aware of the energy that is at your disposal in an unlimited fashion affords you as a species collectively to make a great leap in consciousness, to remove yourself from the subjectivity and the illusion of suffering that you so diligently hold on to as if it has a greater reality than your own awareness does in and of itself. But today we shall hope to relieve you from the entrapments of the flesh to some degree. For those of you that are willing to allow yourself to experience the experience of your experience as a vibration, not just as a sensation in your body, although your body will experience an effect of that awareness that you are. Ideally, you are going to be able to be aware of yourself as something separate from the confinement of your thought and the confinement of your memory, the confinement of your possible futures, so that you may be free to choose one. You were free when you chose this one, but now it is now time to become conscious that you have that choice once again. And we find that there are great numbers of your species that are awakening in this time. And I say your species because we were a different species of humanity then than you experience now. There was great change in the physiology, the psychology, the awareness of the different branches of humanity that have come and gone over time, the different trees that have come and gone and come and gone, as this one you are experiencing as your human experience will come and go. Yes. It is a simple and gentle process. It will not be complex. It will be very easy. Thank you. The wonderful thing about being able to realize that you are not your thoughts, like you're not your thoughts. Your thoughts are just information that's been stored in the physical body through the 5 physical senses. And you can literally store generations, centuries, millennium of thought can be stored in your physical DNA. And you organize that DNA when you come into matter. When you first bring your awareness into matter at the moment of conception, when your awareness begins to formulate its identity in awareness as that first single cell, you bring with you an awareness of all of your experience that you've experienced on this realm and others. You bring that, and that gets encoded in your DNA, which then, for the most part, gets lost to most people as you go through the process of getting engaged in the physical world. You go through gestation and birth, and then the environment programs us with information and ideas that give us a perception that we're a separate individual, separate from all that is. And in that process, we lose awareness of this vast, vast wealth of being that's available to all of us all the time when we're able to shift our attention from a finite perspective to a more open perspective. The activity that he's going to walk us through today is a very simple one of just learning to do a little bit of slow, gentle breathing, being willing to relinquish your attachment to thoughts and your senses, just to be willing to release your attention from your thoughts and your senses. Because remember, there's a lot, he's saying this is easily done when you understand that your awareness is different than your thoughts and your sensations. As an awareness, you can be more expanded to be aware that these things exist, but not drawn into them as you are right now. So we'll walk you through this process shortly. But let me take a moment just to say hi to everybody and welcome. Wonderful. I'm just going to scroll up here and see what we got. Hi, everybody. Good morning. I've been really excited about this for the last couple of hours. Yes, it's interesting. His energy is, for me, he translates as this very intense, golden, radiating orb of light. That's the only way I can describe it. Yes, he says there is the individual manifestation that is actually called forth by some of you. It is called forth by some of you. We can come out of our union and into individual manifestations of awareness when we are called to do so. Yes. He's funny. He says that the pyramids and all that, say that's all archaic technology now. It's stuff that's not of any importance to their species now. They actually exist on Earth. They left this planet as an awareness. They left the planet deliberately and intentionally so that others could have an opportunity to explore and experience things. So the activity day, he said 11:30. We'd start this, and then 12. Okay, so we got 12 minutes, and we're going to begin. So let's take a few questions and answers today from hi there, YouTube user. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So let's talk a little bit about the pineal gland and what it is. Again, I've got limited scientific knowledge. I only know what I know from my experience and what my guides and angels have been telling me over the last couple of years about consciousness. And I've also connected to a few beings on this physical dimension that have discussed the concept of the pineal gland and how it functions. And it's really important. There's so much information around it. And the fact is the pineal gland is a simple antenna that's based right in the geographical center of the brain. And essentially, it's an organ that you can squeeze. You can actually work it, much the same way you open and close your hands and your fingers and your toes or move your body around. You can learn to work. Yes, he says you can learn to work with any part of your body, inward, whether it's the heart, the lungs, the kidneys, the liver. Any part of your body can be brought under your conscious control, to direct it and affect it to change with the way in which you interact with it. Most of you are doing this randomly, he says. He says most people are randomly interacting with their organs. They have certain thoughts, certain emotions. Then those certain thoughts and emotions cause a reaction in physiology that may be localized to a kidney, or it may be localized to a heart, or it might be localized to a pituitary gland, or it could be localized to a foot or an arm. Certain emotions, certain thoughts will get stored in the body automatically without our awareness if most people are reacting. He's saying that it's important you understand that you can literally go inside and assume authority and give direction to any part of your body, much the same way as we've learned with our hands. And I understand that too, that we have become so outwardly sense-oriented as a species that it's easy to say, oh yeah, I can move my hand, but very few of us ever turn inwardly to move our awareness into the heart and move into the joy of being the heart, feel the love, the joy of the heart, or move into the kidney or the liver or the pancreas and go deeply into it and impart to it a vibration of gratitude or joy. So when he's saying that we have this ability to assert this inner control over our body, it's very true. But we have to understand that has to be developed. The activity today with the pineal gland, he says there's going to be a lot of assistance from many beings that are here today with us that are going to facilitate your experience of the energy of your interaction with that gland through the process. And he says it's going to be very, very simple. Just a little bit of breathing, a little bit of applying pressure to the pineal gland just to get you a sensation of it. The goal today is to get you a sensation of something that occurs within your physical brain area, to sense the sensation of an energy happening in your brain because of your interaction with that gland in the way that he's going to instruct us to do that. And it is that experience that you can build on, much the same way he says, you look at little babies and, they look at their hands for the first time, right? And he says that it's the same thing, the exact same thing. Little babies first look at their hands, they really don't see it. They're like, but then after a while, they begin to, and they slowly begin to articulate the hands through their own interaction with it. Well, the same thing's exactly true, not just with our pineal gland, but with any organ in our body. The minute you move into an awareness with it and you start to interact with it, you're beginning to affect it, right? You begin to affect it. So if you go to a doctor and they test your blood sugar levels and he's suddenly telling you you might have problems with your pancreas, and now that thought form of problems with my pancreas goes into your mind, and if there's an emotion connected to that thought, all of a sudden that emotion with that thought, the pancreas actually feels and responds to that vibration, just as your whole body will respond to joy. So it's going to be very simple. The experience then, just the minor experience of an energy that you can be aware of emanating from your interaction with that gland, is the first step in beginning to articulate and develop a way to function with it and utilize it fully and completely. In other words, to open that multi-dimensional communication organ to many levels. There are infinite levels of perception and reality, and the pineal gland is the organ that we can utilize to open that communications array up deliberately and intentionally, much the same way as we can use a cell phone to connect to somebody across the world. You can use your pineal gland to connect to Thoth or Master Jesus or Buddha, or your grandfather or your brother or your sister. You can learn to access multi-dimensions of consciousness by learning how to utilize that gland. Also in learning to utilize that gland, he says, once you start utilizing that gland, you move out of being subjective to thought the same way, because now you move into becoming aware of energy as opposed to thought. Thought is a lower vibrational manifestation of energy that's predominantly based on your material senses experience of time and space. But as you get more aware of experiencing the energy that you're able to generate, suddenly your awareness shifts from thought to energy. And in that shift from thought to energy, it's in that shift that you suddenly begin to reconnect to that which you are as an awareness and not as just a body-mind. And that won't restrict you from expressing things in your body and mind, but it will in fact enhance what you can or cannot express or do while you are in body mind, as an awareness that is aware that you're not your thoughts, aware that you're not your body, aware that you have an energy called emotion that you can direct and charge and shift and change. Yes. Okay. Thank you. So we'll take a few questions before we get started, and then we're going to do the meditation. He says it'll be about anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes, and it's going to be very simple. We'll lay it out before we actually start. But he wants to take a few questions right now. So I'm going to scroll up and see if I've missed anything. Also, if you want to support the work and the work that we're doing here, you can become a member of my Patreon page, patreon.com/William Michael Forbes. You can support my work that way. Also, you can support this work by booking a reading with me, liking this video, subscribing to the channel, sharing this information with other people, getting the information that we are no longer being stuck as just being body minds, getting the truth out that we are creator beings, divine creator beings, able to organize and reorganize matter and energy with certain capabilities like reason, intuition, imagination, perception, and then see how they interact with matter, and then use those things to create changes in your life. But I really like what he said earlier about being able to. Question from Patricia. I have a lot of natural amethyst found in the ground near my house. I find that when I have them in my pocket, I feel dizzy. Is this pineal, third eye, or crown chakra? In your case, they're saying that when you pick that up, Saint Germain actually converges on you as an energy. His energy converges on you when you put that stuff in your pocket. Saint Germain works with the violet fire, and amethyst is a physiological representation of that violet fire. So when you take that in, he's saying that you bring me forth, and you feel that altered state of being, the energy of his presence. He says, although if you allow yourself to sit with it and feel it and incorporate it as an awareness, not as the terminology that you give it. You do not give it the terminology of dizziness. You do not give it that terminology. You must just allow yourself to experience it as an experience without definition, in your awareness of allowing the experience to be felt as your awareness experiencing it. The effects on your mind and body will be different than the framework that you've been giving it through the language of what you call dizzy. The words and meanings that you will choose to assign to experience, or energy as you like, the minute you assign a quality to energy as a definition, whether it be dizziness or joy or sorrow, the energy will and must conform to that perception of your experience. So the next time you are into that energy with me, please allow yourself to just experience the energy and remove your framework of definition and be exclusively aware of the experience. Do not let your mind or your body try to label it or define it, but let your awareness experience it. You will find significant changes happening, especially with the use of that mineral as an amplifier of that awareness. Cool. Thank you so much for that question, Patricia. I'm going to scroll down a bit more here. Wonderful. Giovanna is asking, Toth, you are finally here. Please give me your guidance. Thank you so much for channeling him. He means so much to me. His heart is filling with joy. There's actually a golden ray emanating upward from him. What he's saying is, you are receiving that guidance now. Understand that as you allow yourself to be present with us all here today, the guidance that you are receiving now is the guidance you have requested. That place that some call the lotus of your spirit, the center of your being, the communications array, the communication will come directly through that point in your consciousness. You must learn to not seek information outside unless it resonates with you internally. We would recommend that as you open this up today and begin to experience it, that will be your own guidance to your mind and body, where you will liberate yourself from this conception of separation. Yes. But yeah, this golden ray He says he wants you to feel that, like Giovanni, really feel this, like literally a golden ray coming down from he's saying the field of awareness down into your body, literally down straight through the crown chakra. He's saying allow yourself to feel that. You do not need words or thoughts to understand the experience. Thank you, Giovanna. Question from Manoj. My government adds chlorine in drinking water. Please ask the angels if it is bad for me, and what can I do about it? Well, I'll answer that personally, Manoj. Get a distiller. Get a water distiller and literally distill your water. You might be able, I don't know if you've got the resources to do that, but if you don't, there is a way you can probably make a water still, but you want to purify your water. Chlorine is not good for you. It's a toxic. It's bad for your body. It's great for killing bacteria and germs, but it's not great to be exposing your body to that, especially if you're drinking water every day. I use distilled remineralized water, and that's how I keep my body alkaline. Leave your water out too is nothing. If you got chlorinated water, leave it out for a while before drinking it. Leave it out, let it sit, let whatever's there evaporate off, because the minerals will evaporate off. And then add some sea salt to it, Celtic sea salt, to help with the quality of the water too. But yeah, distilled water is what they told me to use, and I've been using it ever since. Hi, everybody. Hi. Hello, Anne-Marie. Let's see. You got time? I think we got time for one more question, and then we're going to do the pineal gland activation. Yes, that's correct, Patricia. Love Light is asking, is fluoridated water good for us? How can we clean water? Again, get a distiller. We have a distiller. We have a distiller here. They said get a distiller. So we distill water, and that's, you can also buy really good natural spring water if you can find a place where there's a level of natural fluoridation. But you can also get unfluoridated water. But don't get fluoridated water. It helps. It interferes with the brain. Fluoride is a byproduct of, it's got aluminum molecules in it, and aluminum interferes with the brain's function. Distilled water. Let's see. Question: does Ra have a message for me? It's funny. Toth, again, I feel his energy coming from the center, so I'm motioning to my heart, because that's what that feels like to me when I see that energy from the heart. Do not, he's saying, do not hurry. Be timeless. Be timeless. Wow. I'm interpreting that to mean literally, do not let yourself feel hurried in any way, shape, or form. Be timeless. Buddha once told me, he said, you've got to learn to hurry slowly. Do not let time be the determining factor of what you're going to be, think, say, or do. Is that correct? Yes. Be timeless. Let more of what you do not be governed by the timing, but let that which you do be governed by your heart. Interesting. So let's get ready for this meditation. So if you've got water, please make certain. Thank you. We'll answer some more questions later, but let's get into this, because he really wants to do this. He's excited as I am. That important. If you have water, please take a sip of water or a good drink of water, because when you're going to move into this type of activity, you're going to change the way your brain processes information. When your brain processes different information at a higher vibrational frequency, it uses more energy. And the body is predominantly water. Water is a good conductor of electrical energy. So if you're going to bring in higher frequencies of energy, you want to make certain there's good conductivity in your body. So you want to keep it hydrated as properly as you can all the time, not just for meditations, but all the time. You want to keep electrical conductivity at its optimum state in your body. And water is one of the best ways to do that. And greens drinks is another way of doing that too. Thank you. So make sure your body's going to be comfortable for at least 10 to 12 minutes. And make sure you're not going to be disturbed. Yeah. Okay. So what he wants us to do is just, again, after you've drank your water, get your body in a physically comfortable position. He's saying preferably upright. He's saying if you've seen the statues by our temples, you will see how we sit when we do this. Those positionings of our constructed works were very deliberate to remind everybody of the posturing of the being physically in order to be conducive to the ascension of the soul and the restoration of what you call heaven to this physical world. But the postures, and again, so sitting upright with your knees flat on the floor, with your hands on your lap, your spine straight. And make certain that you get settled into that position, feeling the alignment. He's saying feel the alignment of the spine, especially up. It needs to go straight up. In sitting straight up, he's saying there, you will notice if you're sitting properly straight and your spine is correctly aligned, you'll feel a slight pressure on the what you call the lower part of the rod. He's calling it the lower part of the rod. I'll call it the sacrum, but he's calling it the lower part of the rod. You'll feel pressure on the bottom of the rod, and that's it's a sacrum in the spine in our language. You should be feeling a slight pressure on there, just from the pressure of your body sitting upright in the way he's just described. Now he's saying what you need to do is be mindful of that pressure, because that pressure allows you to become aware of where you begin. And he's saying he wants you to actually hold your awareness in that lower part. Hold your awareness in that lower part. And just feel the energy there. He's saying he wants you to breathe now. He wants you to breathe the feeling or sensation from there up. He wants you to breathe that energy up in one breath, like literally breathe it up. All the way to the point in the geographical center of your brain. And hold that feeling that you breathe up right there in the geographical center of your brain. And now he wants you to hold your breath tighter. Hold your breath tighter and be aware of the pressure that builds in here as you hold your breath tighter. Allow the pressure to build for at least 10 seconds. And then release and feel the sensation emanating from the middle of the temple, he's saying. He's saying this is the temple. Oh, I see. Thank you. And he's saying, do this again. Move your awareness back down to this place. Become aware of the pressure. He's saying if you need to, you could actually slightly rock your pelvis to increase the pressure on the sacrum or to decrease the pressure on the sacrum. And as you feel the shift in the pressure, breathe the sensation that comes from the pressure Breathe that energy up, all the way up to the geographical center where the pineal gland is in the brain. And when you breathe that energy up there, hold your breath tight and allow the pressure to build for at least 10 seconds. And then release and feel the sensation of energy that emanates from there. Feel the sensation of your energy that emanates from there. That emanation of energy is your higher awareness being stimulated to re-enter consciously into matter. For you are bringing your little self up. You're bringing your little self up to the temple. And in the temple, you hold yourself there with your breath and your presence there as you exhale releases that which is above to come below. So he wants us to do this again, a third time. Breathe it all the way up to the center, the geographical center where the pineal gland is. Then hold your breath tightly for 10 seconds. And exhale and feel the energy that emanates out from that point in the brain. Just feel the energy. Just allow yourself to feel the energy before trying to describe it. Now he's saying you can do 2 or 3 more like that as we continue with the other portion of this. The goal here, he's saying, is for you to experience that you are able to access the doorway in the temple so that you can see again from on top. You see by what you feel, not by what you think. So again, try that breath again. Draw it up. When you get that energy up to top, hold your breath for 10 seconds again. And as you exhale, be aware of the feeling that emanates from that point. And it's the energy, the sensation you want to allow yourself to experience without labeling it yet. Experiencing the energy. He's saying to me, this is what it means to when you offer, he's saying when you offer to Ra, when you offer, you literally surrender your little self to this greater self that is you. The sensation you feel is the response that you have received from your higher self, from your source, that sensation. So that he's saying that's something you want to become mindful. He's saying become mindful of the experience of that energy. He's saying do this as a portion of your meditation with the understanding that you are deliberately climbing you are climbing up to the heavens, and you literally can feel that energy. I don't know about you guys, but I can literally feel like this incredibly expanded energy, and just like a I'll use the term bliss. That just makes me. I could laugh. I could be filled with joy right now. I am. And it's the energy you want to become aware of, because he's saying in the energy, you will increase your awareness and lose your attachment to thought. You'll increase your awareness of being and decrease your attachment to thought. And this is really important, because I don't know about you, but I'm not aware of much thought going on in my mind right now. In fact, it's very quiet and peaceful. So each of you will have the experience that's relevant for you to have at this time to understand what that is as an awareness for you, as what you are as an awareness for you. Literally, we're literally sacrificing the small self to access a greater self that can create much more profound change in time and space than we can through our 5 physical sensory being or our finite personality. Yes, thank you. He's saying it won't take, some of you will go really quick. He says, this is the time you are at that place in your species evolution where you are literally able and free to liberate yourself from matter if you so choose. But you also may elect to become more creative over matter in a less subjective way, so that you're not creating from the perception of matter itself, but creating from the perception of expressing the limitless capabilities that you have as an awareness in time and space. And this is very important for you to understand as an experience of being. Cool. So we're going to take a few more questions. And again, the simplicity that he presented this to me in the morning was just profound. Like I said, I've been buzzing along all day. And the energies, he's saying the energies that will be released collectively as we do this, the energies that will be released collectively, because it stimulates a cascade. I'm putting what he's saying into my words now. It stimulates literally a resonant frequency that goes out and will activate that in other people, much the same way as a song. You're at a restaurant with friends, or you're sitting with friends, and then suddenly you hear a song playing in the background, and you find your body swaying to the music, or you want to tap your feet. He's saying this frequency will do the same thing for stimulating the awakening. He's using a language, a word I don't understand, but in a very like a whole, like where all of humanity can begin to feel it and be awakened to it. He says I don't know if you, but this vibration is so beautiful and so non-judgmental and loving and creative that it's literally like meeting a source of love and life that exists within all of us all the time anyway. So we're going to take a few more questions, and we'll see where we go from there. Yes. Here we go. I'm going to just scroll up here. Scroll. Love Light saying, I want to. Yes, technology, because he said our technology. He's saying your technology does not come close to matching our technology, but you have to understand our technology evolved from our awareness of what we are, not from our need to survive in time and space. It's important you understand that our technology evolved because of who we knew we were as consciousness, not because of our need to survive, as it is in your case as a species. Many of you are caught up in this survival energy, and your creativity functions from that consciousness. And so you can only do and create things that will cause you to survive, but they will not cause you to thrive. When you shift your perception in awareness, these technologies will not harm you. Your awareness will transcend the subjectivity to matter in the sense that you understand it. So your technologies, these things that you are unleashing into your world today, are predominantly geared to the expansion of your awareness as an organizer of matter. Cool, I like that. Thank you. Question from Zenobia. Sometimes I feel like speaking, but comes out not like any language I know of. What is this? Um, uh, he's saying, do not be surprised, for there are many throughout all of creation that you may engage in communication with. You find yourself perplexed because you are trying to interpret the understanding of this experience from your human perception. And when I say your human perception, I mean that perception of self that you've become localized into that physical body with the very limited constraints of who you are supposed to be. And therefore, it makes it very difficult for you to understand or comprehend these other informations that you're receiving in the form of languages that do not have the same limiting constraints that your finite perception of reality does. If you are able to go into the vibrational sensation, the feeling of that which you receive, the ability to interpret it will become evolved as you gain yourself the experience with allowing yourself to feel rather than to try and interpret. Many of you try to interpret our information, and we try to communicate to all of you all the time. But you often try to interpret this information from the level that you are functioning at, and this does not allow you to interpret it at the level that we are at. So therefore, you are unable to translate, is a better way to put it. Cool. Great question. Wonderful. Yes, I am streaming from my YouTube channel live, but I'm also streaming live on Soul Evolution. Wonderful to have you all here today. Thank you so much. Question from Lauren. I got bit by something a week ago. Is it going to be all right? Yes, but immediately from within me, go out and get some Penitan. You want to go out and get some Penitan and put it on that spider bite right away. I had a friend who got bit by a spider, and it wasn't much fun. And it's funny because somebody came up to me and said, "Oh, you use Penitan," which is something they use for baby rashes. But put it on the spider bite, and you'll find in a day or two it'll clear up really fast. Very fascinating. Angie's asking, Toth, I had a vision of being in Egypt with very tall beings. Were you one of these beings? And what is my connection to Egypt? And what can we learn as a society today from that time period? He's laughing. He said, you cannot learn anything in society today from that time period, for the society today that you exist in now is exclusive to what you are being and what you are not being. As to our work together in that expression of being, there are many of you that worked with us, many of you that still work with us energetically, although not all of you are conscious of that fact. If you are seeking to understand the awareness that is you from that time, this would be a far more prudent course for you to pursue, is to pursue the awareness you have of that time, and not so much the mechanics of the who's and the what's and the how's, but the awareness of that experience will prove of greater value to the manifestation of that which you came here to support. It is the awareness of your being from then in now's time that you wish to utilize. Then you will find there might be some useful information, both technologically and practically, that will assist yourself and others to move forward. It is inevitable that you will move forward. It is a choice, though, as well. Wow, I'm just scrolling here. Yes. Thank you, Autumn. That's a great statement. Boron. I've never known that. That's great. Boron flushes fluoride out of the system along with many other toxins. You're welcome, Patricia. Marigold's asking, I have a stronger claircognizant sense compared to clairvoyance or clairaudience. How will I experience the pineal gland? How will I experience the pineal gland through that clair? How would you experience that? He says, in your case, you will find inspiration in the wake of this practice. Be prepared to record your inspiration. he said we had those that inscribed the inspirations we received. In your case, you will use the devices you use today, but when you do this practice and you allow the energy to be experienced, you may not have to be too concerned about that so much as inspiration that will come to you afterwards, the inspiration, and write the inspirations that come to you afterwards down. For that will begin to open up the other clairs that are connected. The other clairs will open up that are connected once you start to accept the vibration of inspiration. Write them down. They may be ideas or information or a thought you never had before, something that you suddenly just know. As you allow that, you will spontaneously begin to open other things up. You will be very excited. Lots of excitement coming to you. Wow. Esther's saying, when doing the breath, my shoulders shake and my head moves too. Is that the body moving to let the energy move up? He's saying it's both. It is not one or other. You are doing this, a cycle. He's saying you're beginning to cycle it. If you avoid the judgment or interpretation of the meaning that your mind has about the sensation of that experience, you will begin to experience the spontaneous flow of the energy, but your mind, in trying to interpret the experience, is offering resistance to what the experience is trying to manifest. So you find that resistance of interpretation when the process of allowing the sensation to flow without the interpretation, you will begin to experience the expansion in your awareness, the unity of self to self, and a deeper understanding of the meaning of the experience and how it will apply and alter your physical reality. Cool. Great question. Wow. Here we are here. We're going to take two more questions. And then we're going to cover a couple personal things I want to talk about. Question from Miriam. Does the opening of an eye chakra opens up other chakras, or do we need to awaken them individually? Thank you. He says this one is the most important. This is the light that you will, that many of you in this dimension that have become what you call enlightened are often enlightened through here. If this is properly experienced without you interfering with it, the other things will naturally open up. It is like turning a flashlight on in a dark room. Everything is revealed. From the perspective of awareness, you may also be guided to utilize the energies that you release from here to bring them into different parts of your physical form to activate or remove blockages. For you can use this energy of being in unlimited ways. Cool. Thank you. That's a great idea. Oh, you're welcome. One more question. From Angie. Will we discover important teachings from you under the Sphinx that will help launch us as a race faster into our ascension? He's smiling and he's giggling and saying, you have to understand, most of what we left behind, most of you cannot understand nor comprehend. We left very little traces when the great change happened in the world. We had already cultivated our societal awareness to such a state that we were able to avoid the termination of our awareness through the changes that happened in matter. In fact, the changes that happened in matter were a direct result of the consciousness that we had aspired to, as you will find on your physical dimension too. The information that has been found so far has not eliminated your difficulties, nor will it, nor will you ever really understand how we did things. It will prove no value to you. That was our time. This is yours. If you wish to understand what would be more effective for you in your time, then you must ascend to the temple and receive the I don't even know what that word is. I'll say the word, the inspiration that comes in through here and comes down on to you. But you must open the temple door and let that light come down. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your questions. Yeah, so I've been putting out the word. I want to say thank you so much for those of you that have been sharing the concept of what we were guided to start creating this thing called the Humanity Agenda, where we want to get the entire Lightworker community synchronized on a daily message, much the same way as conventional three-dimensional news, ABC, CBS, NBC, have their worldwide news time at 6 p.m. or 9 p.m. or 5 p.m. They have a set time every single day that they do their presentations, their programming, right? And they said it's important that we create something similar, but based in light, based in truth, based in love, based in the vibration of our highest sense of being. So I want to thank everybody that's reached out and started sending out requests to all the different leaders of the light worker groups and all the other light workers to get in touch with me so that we can begin a process of identifying what that vibration is. Because we got all these different groups. We got they told me we have all the resources and people we need from the light here today to literally move humanity in a quantum way. And it can't be done a little bit at a time, but we want to create a light worker network, literally a global light worker network. We don't want to create an amalgamation of all these groups. We want all the individual groups to be remaining where they are, but we want to create up a system of communication that we're able to generate a message consistently to everybody. Everywhere. There's 250 million light workers that are awake and aware right now, and we want to get all of us engaged in this process of transmitting these higher frequencies of consciousness and being into time space, so we can begin to shift the human paradigm from fear-based consciousness into love-based consciousness. And we need a consistent way to do that. We go back to that process of you hear a song playing and it's a nice rhythm. Well, that's what the news has done. They're programming people every day very specifically. We want to do the same thing from the perspective of light. And we don't have to, again, as long as the leaders get together and we decide this is what we want to put out, we put that out through our respective, to all the groups and people that we know to the best of our ability. Again, this is just something I've never even considered before until this week when they presented it to me. But I open up to all the other leaders of light worker groups to please reach out to me. You can connect to me through my email, williammichaelforbes59@gmail.com. And let's get this process going. I need input, information, because this is not a me project. This is a we project. And we have the light worker resources on the planet to literally create a quantum shift globally that will just blow everybody's minds. And I'm looking forward to it. And I want to thank everybody who's supporting this process and anybody who reaches out to me. I'm creating a database so that we can set up a communications net so that at a certain time every day we have a message that we put out that represents our highest and brightest conceptions of human potential as an idea that we can just put out every day to the light worker community and then radiate it out as best we can to everybody else through our various mechanisms of communication today. Wow. So again, I want to thank everybody for the support here. And again, I'll see you guys on Monday on Shortcuts for Your Soul. I'm looking forward to it. If you want to support this work again, you can support this work by becoming a member of my Patreon page, which is patreon.com/William Michael Forbes. Your support is welcome, and we'll continue putting these messages out as long as this forum exists. I want to say much love to everybody. I want to say I really appreciate your time, your energy, because I know they're valuable and priceless, in fact. Your time, your focus, your energy are priceless. Thank you for participating today. The energy that we all developed, cultivated inside ourselves, makes an impact. It creates a change in time space. So practice this and watch how things start to shift for you. And I wish you all much love, and we will see you Monday. Bye for now.